and welcome to the Healing for the Heart podcast. It's really good to have you with us, and if you're watching this in video, you will see that Christmas has come. This is Healing for the Heart's Christmas podcast. I can't actually quite believe this is the third Christmas podcast. Yeah. Is that not quite amazing? It's the third Christmas podcast. How can we possibly have done two other Christmas podcasts? We want to think about Christmas just now. So if you're watching this, we want to hope that in the build up to Christmas that you are enjoying that build up. And we actually want to talk about some of the stuff that people don't talk about when it comes to Christmas, because it's all got to be sugary sweet, and people often feel such a pressure to actually do all the things they're expected to do. Obviously, some of the major retailers this year have tried to bust some of the myths around Christmas and the things that you have to do. We'll not mention anybody by name, and that has caused quite a stir in various places. But we want to think about being real round about Christmas. We're thinking about some of the Christmas traditions. You know, I was actually just thinking, I was in Asda last night. There we go, we'll name, there are other supermarkets, but I was in Asda last night, and they have a big display at their door that piled up, and it's Christmas Eve boxes.
Did you see Michael Bublé though?
No.
Oh.
No, not at all. He wasn't in Asda last night.
That's a shame.
I think he might have been before, but he certainly wasn't in last night. But I looked and I thought, good grief, not only are we putting pressure on parents to do Christmas Day, but now we're putting pressure on parents to do a Christmas Eve box. And these were fairly sizable boxes. I'm thinking, what? My kids, I mean, I think maybe I've traumatised my kids, but my kids on Christmas Eve got to go to their bed early. That was the special treat for them. They might have got hot chocolate before they went, but they got to go to their bed early because there was a lot of things that Santa needed to sort, and they needed to be in their bed, and Santa wasn't coming until they actually got themselves to their bed. But you know, we do feel such an amount of pressure, don't we, in terms of Christmas? So we're going to have a conversation about the pressure of Christmas, and perhaps how we're busting that myth this year that we have to do everything the way the traditions and Christmas tells us that we actually have to do it. So, who's firing in first?
I think my plans is not to make a full traditional Christmas dinner and have a Christmas dinner in my house or in my daughter's house. I hope she's no shocked at this video. But
hopefully you've told her. You've told her before this comes out. Yeah,
I'm not coming. What I do plan to do is to go out this year. One of the charities that hold this space are having a Christmas meal in the Cuppa. So my plan is to take myself and my other daughter and a few other people to a Christmas meal that they are planning to have in the Cuppa this year. So that's my plans. No stress for Christmas dinner and no stress of anything else.
Yeah,
so
and also I guess in that too, some of the community work that you do, being able to invest in some of the folk in the community that you know actually they're not going to have the kind of Christmas that they might want to tick off their list in terms of what they want to do.
Their families aren't there, or their families are deceased, or they're going to be alone. So I've invited them to spend some time with me. So.
Yep, and it's that thing of being able to take people, isn't it? So that you're not just kind of saying, well, I'm doing my thing over here and I'm going to send you over there, but actually about going with them and taking them, and it becomes a family thing, doesn't it? It's just a different kind of family thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
There's huge pressure round about getting the whole Christmas dinner on the table and all the rest of it, isn't there?
Well, thankfully I won't be doing that.
And what you do with it, I think for us, Christmas this year just by default is going to look completely different, and you could get yourself really tied in knots with that, couldn't you? So I mean, both my kids I think are going to be working on Christmas Day. Normally the four of us would make a real effort to be around on Christmas Day. The four of us would be there. You know, there are things that we would expect to do. I have a son who's a chef. He would be expecting that we'd be having a big Christmas dinner, and he would be getting involved in that. It's the one day in the year that we can nearly guarantee that he's going to cook for us. But this year it looks as if potentially both of them will be working, and for us it's like my daughter had said, but it doesn't matter, we'll just do Christmas whenever we do Christmas. And I thought, how freeing is that? That in actual fact we don't have to do it. We don't have to succumb to all the expectations of you're going to do this on the 25th and it's going to be this and it'll be happening at 3 o'clock and it'll be. But in actual fact, we can just breathe and relax, and we can do what works for us, the same as you're talking about doing what works for you.
I think we don't have particular in some ways particular Christmas traditions, but there's certainly that expectation, that family expectation of what will you do and where will you go and whose place will you be at. And last Christmas we stayed here, and so there would definitely be an expectation that this year we would travel. I hate travelling at Christmas. I have many a horror story about travelling at Christmas, and actually there came a point for us much earlier in the year where I was asked to do something on the 23rd of December, and that was the point at which I was like, but we'll be expected to go down south, and my husband said, well, we could not, like, we could wait. Whoa, hold on a second, right, okay. And actually that's what we're doing. So we're here over Christmas, and then we'll go south after Christmas, which actually gets away from the whole, we put so much on one day, don't we? And you know, when we go south, so we've got a dog and we take the dog, but the dog's not allowed in all of the different places that we would need to go down south, and so you just end up with this whole stress thing. Whereas if we go down after Christmas, there won't be any expectation that we've got to go there for Christmas lunch and we've got to do this, because actually we'll just go and we'll have a nice holiday by the seaside, and that'll be it. The other thing we're not doing this year is having turkey. Undecided whether we're going to have beef or even lamb, which I'm told is entirely the wrong meat for the festival, but we've got half a lamb in the freezer, so we might well cook it.
Yeah, but it is that pressure, isn't it? And I suppose, I mean, we're acknowledging the pressure that we feel to conform at Christmas and to do all the things at Christmas. I was hearing, I think one of the staff in here had said just the other day that it's okay to pace yourself. You know, so if seeing your family is stressful because they're all in the one place and actually they don't get on, and it's actually okay to see them a bit at a time. You don't have to have everybody at the one time. You don't have to be in one place for lunch and one place for dinner. It's actually all right to pace yourself. No, you know, the pressure that we feel often is the pressure that we put on ourselves to actually do the things that are expected of us, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. And I think, you know, it's the pressure as well for getting the gifts right and getting making sure that everybody's happy and making sure you've got this, that and the other. I mean, I think there are many bits and pieces of Christmas tradition that I'm like, oh, we don't do that, and then sometimes I think, oh, should we? And then I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that, because I feel like that for us would just be a waste of money or a waste of time or a waste of effort. But there are things that we also do feel that we need to do, so it's how you fit those in, and also how you find your own traditions. So my sister and her family live not very far away from us in Glasgow, and we see quite a lot of them, but we've started what I think is a bit of a Christmas tradition over the last few years, where we'll go out for a meal, like a Christmas meal, to TGI Fridays, not sponsored by them, sort of kind of in the run up to Christmas, because actually that's something that we enjoy doing, and actually it's a thing that we enjoy doing together without any pressure of anything. And for me, I think it's the run up to Christmas I enjoy more. Christmas itself, take or leave it, not interested. Christmas movies, fabulous. I'm there. I've been there since October. Don't judge me. And so I like, there's things on the run up to Christmas that I think, that's the run up to Christmas, and I'm a Celebrity will be on the TV, and Strictly will be coming to an end, and Bake Off will be coming to an end, and that's all lovely, and the lights will get twinkly and sparkly and stuff. But see, kind of Christmas Day onwards, I'm out.
Yeah. I think it's interesting though, isn't it, in terms of the expectations. We in our house at the moment, we're having a I think discussion is probably the best way to put it, about when the Christmas decorations go up. So the problem is that, so we're going on holiday, we're going away just after Christmas time, and so therefore the decorations will need to come down. Well, we'll take the decorations down before we go away, because I'm not coming back to take the Christmas decorations down. And so my daughter, who lives away most of the time but is home this week in particular, is suggesting that we put the decorations up now. Now obviously this podcast isn't going to go out until much nearer Christmas, but we are several weeks away from Christmas when we're recording this, and so we're having this discussion about whether or not it is appropriate to put the Christmas decorations up now. And I'm like, but it's weeks, let's not do that just now. And thinking to myself, actually, what is it that causes you to say that? Let's not put the decorations up now. everything in moderation. She would have the decorations up in July if she could, and you know, for 6 months of the year, because she likes the twinkly lights and the glitter and all the rest of it. But actually there's such a lot of pressure to conform, you know, so put your decorations up on the 1st of December, take them back down on this date, you know, do this, do that, do the next thing. And we get so caught up in trying to conform to the things that we're expected to do, that somehow we lose the joy in the midst of it all. I mean, it kind of sounds like what we're saying in this podcast to folks that are listening is actually do the thing that makes you happy, do the thing that brings you joy, do the thing that actually is about self-care for you. Now, in that, obviously, we've got to be balanced with other folks, and we live in community with other people and all the rest of it. But that doesn't mean that we've got to cause ourselves undue stress by trying to do all the things that we're expected to do.
I think for me, I'll put my decorations up a bit earlier, because then it makes the living room a comfortable environment, a cosy environment. A lot of the time I sit with candles on, and you know, lights anyway, lights in the plants, lights in the fireplace, and that's just what my environment's like most of the time anyway. But I like to put them up a bit earlier, so that it kind of gets me in the mood, if you like, and then I can start to pace myself to buy presents over, you know, a period of time. And last year actually I didn't buy expensive gifts. It was, you know, it was gifts at the charity shop, and I was thinking during the podcast there, where did we lost that? It's the thought that counts. Where did we lose that? Somewhere in you know, like consumerism and culture, where did we lose that? This year again, I think I'll be, you know, put my decorations up early to create the environment, and I'll also not be buying expensive gifts, and be more focused on that's the thought that counts. And not put myself under pressure. My kids love the Christmas Eve boxes. They went on about it for years and years. So, you know, I'm not going to put that pressure on myself for the Christmas Eve boxes. You know, does it need to be a box? Why is it not just like a hot chocolate drink with a cup and you know, a wee bath product or something like that? You know, so it's about pacing myself and not putting myself under a lot of pressure. I think, and keeping that focus of it's the thought that counts.
And maybe that is actually the nub of this whole thing, the idea that sometimes it's so people don't necessarily remember the big lavish things that folks do or whatever, but actually they remember the moment of something. So it made me think of, so years ago now, how many years ago now, 20 years ago now, I was teaching in a school for kids with additional support needs, and there was a wee boy gave me a gift at Christmas time, and I still have it. It still sits in my cupboard, and I see it regularly. It sits in my display cupboard, and it's a wee tiny box that he made, and he's tied it at the top, and the wee card that goes with it that says, "I've put a laugh in this box for you." And I know what they did with it. They laughed into the box, and then they tied it, and then that was your present. And I thought, you know, it's like that I've not ever thrown that out. And that wee boy will now be well into his 20s, if not in his 30s now, but actually the teacher that you gave that to still has that, because actually that's the thing you remember, isn't it? And maybe that's actually, you know, maybe that's what we're talking about, you know. So you're talking about the, you know, the Christmas meal and being able to go with folks in the community to that, and you're talking about, well, actually, how do we put this down? Does it need to be turkey? You know, and maybe actually we're getting back to the things that are really important.
It's the memories, I think. You know, I can look back at Christmases and I couldn't tell you really. There are a few gifts that stand out, but mostly I couldn't tell you. But what I can tell you about is other years that we quite often on Christmas Eve would go up to Luss, and I can tell you about the different years that we've gone and the way the weather's been, and whether it's been so foggy that you can barely see the end of the pier, or whether it's been a beautiful day. Mostly it's been foggy, but you know, it's the memories, and it's the remembering that the year that we first were able to take the dog there, and that whole thing, and the year that we first went down to my mum's new house by the seaside and were able to go to the beach on Christmas Day, that kind of thing. So it's the memories actually that I retain, it's not the other stuff.
So I guess as we kind of wrap this up, we would just be wanting to encourage people, you know, actually there's stuff other than the big things that everybody says are the important things, or the media would tell us are the important things at Christmas. There are actually things that are way more important than that.
Yeah.
And I guess we would also want to leave people with that thought that you are more important than that.
Yeah.
You're more important than the sum of all the things that the media says that we have to do to make it Christmas.
Yeah.
And it goes without saying that, you know, from us at Healing for the Heart, we want to wish you a really Merry Christmas. You know, whatever you're doing, that you make memories that last a lot longer than the thing itself does. And that in the midst of all of the hustle and bustle of Christmas and all the things that you feel that you maybe should do, that you do take time to look after yourself, because you really are important in the midst of all of this. So have a very, very happy Christmas and a very peaceful new year, and we'll be back with you in the new year with a new set of podcasts.